Mm, Great, great. So we can start?
Okay, ready when you are.
Lovely, lovely. Hey everyone, welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host Avik, and today we are diving into a topic that's as profound as it is transformative. So imagine living your life with the complete clarity about who you are, why you are here, and how you can unlock your highest potential. Sounds pretty incredible, right? So that's the magic of human design. Yes. And it's not just a self help tool, it's like your personal operating system for the life. Yeah. So, and who better to guide us through this fascinating world than my guest today, Haram Arya. So, welcome to the show, Haram.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Lovely, lovely. So, Haram, before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all the listeners. Dear listeners, Haram is a human design coach and intuitive who works with high performers, helping them optimize their potential and achieve the extraordinary transformations. So, with over 2 decades of experience as a creative director and the storyteller for global brands like Nike, Ahram, Blend Science, intuition, and strategy into a powerful framework for self discovery. So, whether you are looking to transform your personal life, excel in your career, or deepen your relationships, then today's episode is packed with the insights that could spark a little r- real shift in your life. So, buckle up because this is going to be a game changer. So, welcome to the show again, Aram.
Thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
Lovely, lovely. So, and I'm I really love the concept human design. It's a it's very important. So I'll start with the basics. Uh, what exactly human design is?
Hmm.
Like for listeners who maybe not aware of or maybe want to understand better, how did you personally discover it? So if you can share.
Yeah, my origin story, I think is pretty typical. Um, I I was on going through a period of self-discovery. I found myself in Sedona, Arizona, which here in the States is kind of a place people go for spiritual renewal, spiritual retreats. There's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of things you can do to work on yourself there. And I wasn't really there to work on myself. I was just interested in going out to somewhere beautiful in the desert. And I found an Airbnb, and it was just very fortuitous time for me. A lot of synchronicities were happening. And my Airbnb host, who I eventually became friends with, she just sort of casually asked me while I was there, what's your human design? Or do you know your human design? I was like, what's that? I have no idea. She went over to her computer. She printed out a piece of paper. She just needed my birthday, my birth time, kind of like astrology. And I was skeptical as to what this tool, what this thing was. And she presented me with this chart. And I was immediately intrigued because I was like, wow, this is extremely complex. There's this chart and this what's called a body graph, this representation of your body, and all of these um, indications or all of these settings, if you will, and all this jargon and terminology. So for me, when I found my human design, I was just kind of overwhelmed with what this was. And as I began to understand it, what I discovered was that human design reveals your personal operating system. It's something that is kind of hard to define because it smashes a lot of stereotypes that we have about mystical knowledge. So one of the ways I describe it is to just present this idea that even with your birth time alone, which normally just gives you your astrology or numerology, human design gives you incredibly precise and concrete information about how you uh, how you basically can operate through life by listening to your body. So it's to me it's the most powerful tool available that can link mind, body, and spirit um, into one thing that you can go to time and time again to make better decisions and to live a life that's more aligned with your true nature.
Mm, very true. Yeah. And like if I have to ask, like, what was it about human design that stood out to you, especially during those
Hmm.
your journey through challenges like a
Yeah.
mold pot? Yeah.
The most powerful thing right away was that um, it gives you a way to understand all the
Mm-hmm.
different facets of human intuition.
Okay.
So I'm kind of a nerd. I'm kind of a psychologist. I'm interested in social psychology. What I'll say for your listeners is that, human design is a pretty advanced tool. It's not for beginners. It's really for someone who's willing to and excited to open the complexity of how their mind and body work together. And along those lines, one of the things that it told me right away that was very strange at first was that the way that I'm wired to best make my decisions, any decision, is by using my emotions. And that sounded kind of crazy because, here in the States and here living in the Western world,
Yeah.
we are conditioned to use our minds to do everything and to only trust logic and to be logical and to think things through and to sort of pro and con our way through life's most challenging decisions. And here
Yeah.
was this tool that was telling me, nope, you are designed to go through an emotional process to make sure you feel all of the ups and downs around a potential decision before landing on your emotional truth. And therefore, my instructions were to take my time to feel my way through any important decision that life threw at me. And that was a revelation. It gave me permission to be myself on this whole new level. And I was like, wow, I need to feel my way through things as opposed to just be logical in the moment. And it sounds
Mm.
kind of small, maybe a small detail, but for me it was profound. It gave me a permission slip to be myself. And that's really what it can do for other people in a multitude of ways. And that's why it's to this day still so exciting for me.
Very true. Very true. And um, okay, so it's really amazing like how sometimes the tools we stumble upon during our hardest moments end up reshaping our lives entirely. uh, that's really true. I think a lot of people can relate to that sense of finding clarity when you need it the most. So what do you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Most of my
Mm,
clients who eventually land with me,
mm,
they're going through maybe a big challenge in life, maybe a divorce, a midlife crisis, realizing that their job is not fulfilling, and they're searching for answers, um, sometimes very intentionally. Other times, they're their spiritual path, if you will, has opened them up to looking for answers outside of the box, right? So if that describes you in any way, that you're interested in learning about yourself, or something's just not working and you're stuck in your career, your relationships, they're not quite working right.
mm,
Human design is amazing. Is it really an amazing tool because it can give you a very powerful reset
mm,
on who you are, what your values really are, and the types of things, the types of ways of navigating through life that are much more fulfilling than what you may have, where you may find yourself at this moment.
that's true, definitely true. Yeah. And like for someone who is completely new to this, uh, how can human design make a kind of tangible difference in their life or daily
Hmm.
life, I'd say? Yeah.
Hmm. Well, there's certainly low-hanging fruit. And
Mm,
one of the there's different aspects of the system. So the different aspects of the system uh, can guide you in a variety of different ways. One of the ways that people can relate to it right away is this idea that we're all here to play certain roles. Um, the hero's journey can unfold for people in a multitude of different ways. But at the same time, kind of like a lot of famous philosophers or playwrights have said, we really do the best when we relax into certain roles to play. So whether that role means that you do better alone on certain parts of your discovery process or your job even, or how do I best learn? How do I best show up in leadership roles? How can I best interact with other people? Human design means that there's a little bit of an education process to learn the frameworks that it's offering. But once you see the frame, and then you see where you fit into um,
Hmm.
the right role in different human dynamics. What kind of leadership makes sense for you? Should you be out in front shouting your message? Should you be more of a role model? Should you be more of a teacher? It doesn't answer the immediate questions of what should I do for a living, or who should I marry, or where should I live. Those are all very specific kinds of answers people are looking for. But human design gives us the how of, when people are wondering the who and the what and the where and the why, the big questions of life. Human design gives you very concrete answers for the how. It shows you how to go about things to get the best results and to create the outcomes that you really want in life.
Yeah. And like, uh, if you can share a specific success story from your coaching experience that someone whose life was completely transformed by these insights.
Hmm. That's a great
I
question.
mean, do not need to share the name, definitely,
Oh,
but
of course, yes.
yeah.
There's so many little breakthroughs that turn into big breakthroughs often for people. Um, I think the overarching theme, I'm trying to think of a really great specific one, but one of the overarching themes that people walk away with is a
Mm.
permission to be themselves, a,
Yeah.
a permission to um, feel their way through life in a way that is aligned for them as opposed to what they've been conditioned to believe they have to do this way or that
Mm.
way. Um, okay, so one thing that's popping up in my head is um, for a large percentage of people, about 1 in 3 people are really designed to listen to their gut responses to
Mm.
situations. You know, in in a lot of different cultures, we have these different sayings about what you should do when you're faced with a big decision. Like, should you follow your heart, or should you go with your gut? Or should you feel into it? Or should you just talk something out in order to listen to how it sounds? We have all these ways that we intuitively help each other listen to our body to get closer to the truth. And it's really a beautiful. It never gets old to watch someone realize that if they are designed to listen to their gut response, there's this, mm-hmm, yeah. There are these ways that the human body talks to us when we're presented with a strong yes. So a
Yeah.
lot of people have been conditioned to not talk
Mhm.
when there's a stressful situation happening. Maybe it's their family where there's some stress, some anxiety, some dysfunction, and they've been conditioned as a child to not
Mm.
speak or not draw attention to oneself. And then we're peeling back these layers, and people are rediscovering that their gut response, this vibration that's saying, yeah, yeah, is a compass for them to listen to what their body is saying yes to in the moment. It's almost the reason this example popped up is it just happens so often where people discredit the cues that their body is giving them moment to moment. They minimize, they say, oh, it's just brain chemicals, or oh, it's just some stress or whatever. And I'm like, no, what if that's your body just telling you that that's a no or that's a yes? And what if you gave yourself permission to listen
Yeah.
to those urges? So that can immediately unlock a way of living intuitively
Mm.
that many people have just never even thought of.
Yeah. True. Exactly true. Yeah. And like one of the big promises of human design is breaking free from the limiting beliefs. So how does it help people, I mean, overcome those what's holding them back?
Hmm. I think the simplest way to explain that one is it helps you discover your intuitive strengths.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot made in personal development, personality. One of the most popular personality tests that people take is called Strength Finders because it's a subjective test. Your results
Mm.
can change over time, but it's a great starting place for people to discover, hey, what
Mm.
am I intuitively drawn to, and what am I really interested in?
Okay.
And in the same way, human design tells you at a very visceral level, what are my
Mm.
strengths? And what if I choose to follow my strengths and my intuition and the teaching, the deep teaching of how these intuitions work within my body and my own navigation system? What if I listen to those strengths instead of what the outside world is telling me I should or shouldn't do? So one of the ways that we conquer limiting beliefs is that human design gives us a new compass. And it says, no, no, forget all that stuff you've been programmed with. Let's go inside. Let's
Mm.
consult your internal guidance system and see what it says. And then we can, compare notes later and see which one you like more, on this human experiment.
Mhm. That's true. Wow. I mean, also like, what's the most common block you see in high performers?
Hmm. Okay, so with higher performing individuals. High
Mm.
performing individuals have usually become great at a certain set of skills.
Mm.
They may be very quick thinkers. They may have a special skill that allows them to, juggle a lot of balls in the air at the same time. They may be very intuitive at reading other people, reading reactions and, how to zig and zag at the right moments. Um,
Yeah.
So what I noticed with high performers is that they already are very
Mm.
intuitive in different ways.
Mm.
But I think one of the ways that we all get stuck is that the mind is overriding at certain critical places and times.
Mm.
When someone has a financial decision, the financial decisions are some of the biggest places people get tripped up because when it comes time to make the soundest financial decision, that may not be the one that aligns with the heart. That financial decision may not be the one that aligns with the right kind of relationship that you're supposed to be in. So, with some of those big decisions, like personal finance, for instance, um, it's it's tricky. It can be a bit confrontational because um, when it comes to money, we often put our head ahead of our heart, ahead of our gut responses, ahead of our feelings. But in the long run, just thinking about personal finance or big decisions like who you should marry, these are incredibly important to go to the body and to consult the body with what the body thinks about this opportunity. So I think I'm not sure if that exactly answered your question, but that's something that comes up a lot in how do I make the
Mhm.
conservative decision or the right decision when the head and the body are at odds with each other.
Mhm. Understood. Understood. That's totally correct. Yeah. And also, like for the listeners who are curious to dive into this and they really want to do this, so where should they start? Is there a beginner-friendly way to explore their own human design?
Yeah, the simplest way is to go to a site that offers you a way to just look up your chart. You can do that on my site. You can do that on the biggest site that I send people to because it's the source of the knowledge is mybodygraph.com. Those are the official places to start if you want to learn the knowledge from the top down. Anyone who offers human design might also have a tool that will give you your chart. I always suggest to people that they start with the official source or start with one that's absolutely correct, like uh, like the one I offer and many other people offer, because there are tools out there that can give you the wrong results because a lot of
Right.
people have piggybacked on this phenomenon and tried to do it yourself. But starting with an official source is how it all begins. And rather than attempt to understand the system in the abstract, the simplest thing to do is just go enter your birth information into one of these engines and begin to understand the system by understanding yourself. We all have to start somewhere, and starting with yourself is really the easiest thing to do.
Exactly. Very true. Yeah. Lovely. So, and it's a great and incredible conversation, Aram. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. And I think that it's safe to say that human design isn't just a concept, but it's a game changer for anyone who is ready to uh, live with the clarity and the purpose. So, uh, yeah, and for the listeners, I'd love to mention like if today's episode has sparked something in you, then do not let it stop here. Dive into your human design chart and explore your unique blueprint and see what unfolds. So remember that the journey to self-discovery isn't about fixing yourself. It's about embracing who you already are. And if you are ready to take that first step, then reach out to Haram for a free session. And it might just be the breakthrough you didn't know you needed. So until next time, stay curious, stay open, and remember that a healthy mind leads to a healthy life. So till then, take care, everyone, and thank you so much.